Mm. We just have a few more minutes. We will commence at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
William Jim. Okay, use a name. Evidently, we're in the room, so we're just waiting.
You couldn't get it on the.
Rick, I have to get it on the phone.
Why? I guess so, but.
I see people pouring in. We have quite an international crowd today, and we were slated to start at 9 a.m. So I think we'll start and let people call in. I just wanted to thank everyone for coming today to remember and honor and celebrate the journey of Lalit Mama to me, Lalit Harilal Gadhia to everyone else. A person who's touched our lives in so many ways. And we will start with a quick demonstration of how people can listen in and kind of sign the guest book that has been created and leave a note for the family or something that you wanted to say. So Shardul, can you share your screen so we can run through the demo? Okay, you'll see the link in the chat box. You click on that link and it's going to take you to this page. And essentially you'll see that guest book in the panel on the left. And you can go in there and just type in your comments, pay your respects. So while speakers are speaking, you can listen in. And I would just request everyone, please remember to mute yourself. And I will also announce the name of the speakers. So when you hear your name, please unmute yourself before you speak. So with that, we are going to start with the lineup. The first speaker for the evening is Ram Gadhia. Mama, please unmute yourself. Ram Mama, are you on the call? Okay, I do not see him in the lineup.
He is there.
Oh, he is. Okay, I see him.
Yeah. Namaste to all. My brother Lalit Bhai was a good son, good father, good brother, good friend, and a good husband, and also a good grandfather. He was always cares for his family. He tried to help everyone who approached him for help. He was very knowledgeable and intelligent that people from all sectors approach him for his advice, and he always ready to help them in every way. Some of his full-time friends, best friend in India were Shishir Dholakia, who was a senior counsel in Supreme Court, Sri Mahendra Parekh, Sri Praveen Shah, who is right now in London, and Mr. Rajesh Bali. They all remain his best friend for last 75 years. So you can imagine how he was very keen about his friendship to maintain. He always loved the family and was always concerned about their health and well-being. It's not possible to describe Lalit Bhai in 3 minutes, but his name says about him. The 5 words of his name is, first L is for loyal, second A is for adorable, again third L is for lovable, 4 I is for intelligent, and last T is for tough but tender. I pray Almighty to bless him eternal peace, and my brother rest in peace. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Mama. And the next speaker is Maya Thakkar, Lalit Karya's sister. Mom.
Mummy, you have to mute. You are muted right now.
My name is Maya. I'm Lalit Bhai's youngest sister. I have so many fond memories of my time with him. I have so much admiration for him and everything he has accomplished and the life he created for himself. I can still hear his kind-hearted and roaring laughter. I'm grateful for the memories and I will miss him, his voice, our phone calls and his laughter. May his soul rest in peace. Sorry.
Thank you, Mama. The next speaker on the lineup is Anita Alexandra Gadhia-Smith. I'm not sure if Anita is having some technical issues yet. So let's just give her a few seconds. If not, we'll get that sorted and go on to the next speaker. And we'll
Yeah,
move-
I just came to
Okay.
Ron's.
Okay,
Um,
great.
Good morning, everybody. And thank you for being with us today to honor my father. When I think about my father, he was one of the bravest, most courageous, principled human beings I ever met, I ever knew. And I loved him so deeply, even for a father-daughter relationship. Our relationship was unusually close. And I had the gift of almost 62 years with him. And he never, ever stopped being a wonderful father to me. And when I think about him coming over to this country by ship by himself, with no money and no friends, and the courage that took, it just amazes me that he even came here and then came here and did so much for this country, politics in the state of Maryland, and for the communities that he was a part of. He really loved life, and he was always active in life until the day he died. His spirit was very, very strong, and he really wanted to make a difference, and he did make a difference. He changed the world, and he never gave up, and he really was able to shine in many decades of his life. And then when he had difficulties later in life, he stayed the course, and he stayed in life. And with a lot of dignity, he faced many different difficulties with the gentlemanly air that he had. He was truly extraordinary. And as a father, here's something that he did. When my mother was pregnant with me, he used to play classical music when I was in utero because it would help my brain, because it was good for the baby. And he chose my school, Friends School in Baltimore, which turned out to give me an incredible foundation in life when my family wasn't able to, because my family was very troubled until they divorced. And through all of that, the school gave me this incredible foundation, and he chose the school. and he helped me find the doctors I needed. He did the most important tasks of parenting my entire life, and he never ever stopped up until really his last days. And we had a beautiful ending. And I'm also very grateful because his last 8 years were very difficult physically, had a lot of health problems. And his wife, Kathy, was a devoted wife who took incredible, impeccable care of him and made it possible for him to live at home and to still enjoy life in those last years that could have been miserable if he were in a rehab or a hospital. But instead, he was still going out to eat with his friends. And there was nothing he loved more than people and sharing his light and his love and his soul of life and everything that life had to offer. He is my soul, and he always will be. And I can only aspire to carry his spirit forward for the rest of my life. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. The next speaker is Ron Smith. Anita, is Ron by you? Yep.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here to celebrate one of the greatest people I know. I love my father-in-law infinitely. We disagreed about everything, and we loved each other infinitely. And which was interesting, Lalit described himself as a Marxist, and I think he saw me as a little right of Attila the Hun. And toward the end of his life, we became together and saw the world the same. But his infinite grace of immediate forgiveness, tolerance, his delight in existence, it was astonishing. He loved life. He loved food. He loved laughter. He loved people. He loved ideas. I never saw anything he wasn't interested in. And he and I shared that. We came at it at very different angles. But one of the Jewish concept of tikkun olam is to leave the world a little better, to repair the world. And Lalit did that. He left it better than he found it. He influenced an entire culture. He brought an entire culture into the political life of this country that's very necessary and very alive today. And the humor he and I shared, I haven't found anywhere else. And of course, he and Anu gave me my greatest gift in life, which is this phenomenon I married that has been everywhere. But Nietzsche described depression and nihilism as forgetting of the gift of being. Lalit never forgot that. Mm-hmm. He loved every day. He was delighted to be here. He was delighted the universe was here. He was delighted food was here. Music was here. Ideas were here. People were here. He immersed himself in the universe and loved it. And I loved him for loving it. And he brought great cousins, Millen and Nardi and Cable and Jagisha and others that into my life that I just adore. So his footprint was big. He was a small man with a huge footprint. And I love him and I miss him. And I miss our fights and I miss our hugs. And we kissed each other on the cheek, which is a little odd for guys, but it was kind of fun. And I miss him.
Thank you, Ron. We have Kumar Barve speaking next.
Thank you very much. Lalit Gadhia was a mentor and a father figure to me, and I loved him very much. He, I'll just begin at the beginning. I first met him on the campaign for Mike Barnes for the Senate in 1986, and he immediately took an interest in me, and I took a liking to him. And so when I decided to run for the Maryland House of Delegates, one of the first people I went to visit was Lalit Gadhia, because with as much experience as I had, I was aware of the fact that I didn't have enough knowledge to do what I had to do. And so he invited me to PJ's Pub, which I'm sure you all remember. And he grilled me for 3 hours and gave me many homework assignments, which I pretty faithfully fulfilled. He checked back with me and caught up with me. And during my campaign, even though it was not openly spoken, we were both aware that being Hindu and having a name like Kumar Prabhakar Barue could be problematic running for office, since no one else had been able to get elected as a state legislator. But he was there every step of the way with me. I spoke to him on a weekly basis. He gave me sound advice. Occasionally I'd push back on him, and he respected that. And then out of the blue, not out of the blue, because of Lalit, I was able to win in September win my primary in September 1990, and the relationship continued. As I say, most people would see that relationship as a mentorship relationship, but I see it more as a loving father figure. He was always very concerned about me personally. He was constantly inviting me up to his home in Baltimore. We would talk during my first session. We spoke every other week at least. I would tell him about the mistakes I made, and he would give me sound advice, as a father would, on how to avoid making such future mistakes like that. And very frequently, I would come up to his apartment at all throughout the year. We would drink, we'd laugh, we'd watch Arsenio Hall. I tried to get him into Star Trek. I did not succeed in doing that. He always let it know that the spare bedroom was mine whenever I needed it. And frequently I didn't need to warn him very much about my coming up. He was an exceptional human being, and he was respected not just by me and by the members of the Indian American community. He was also respected by the Black community in the city of Baltimore. He was a member of the Goon Squad, after all. And I will say that I also, by the way, got into listening to Miles Davis because of Lalit Gadhia. Typically, it was Miles Davis that was playing when I visited him in his law office. Let me conclude, begin to conclude by relating a tactic of his that is very emblematic of who he was politically and as a human being. As you know, he helped to form the Step-In group, which stood for Society of Technologists and Entrepreneurs from India. And he had an annual gala in the World Trade Center. And the rule he had for the members of Step-In, who were Indian American, was that you have to bring one non-Indian American with you as a guest. He was quite insistent upon this, and this is a part of his humanity and his genius. He understood it was important for it not to be just an Indian American organization, and he grew it into a community of people that became vital to the city of Baltimore, a city that he dearly loved and worked so hard to support. So, in conclusion, of course, I loved him. Many young, up-and-coming Indian American politicians throughout the United States felt the very same way about him. And he was loved not just by the Indian American community, but especially, I have to say this because he would want me to say this, he was always very gratified by how the Black community in Baltimore stuck by him, even during the most difficult of times. He was a brother to everyone, but he especially understood the lessons of brotherhood in America by being very close to the African American community. And so, Lalit, I love you, I miss you, and I will listen to Miles Davis today in your honor.
Thank you for that, Mr. Barak. The next speaker lineup is Uday Bhai and Pavani Bhavi. They may be having some technical difficulties. Let's see, let's go to the next person next and we can bring them back.
Yes.
Are you there, Uday Bhai?
Hello.
Okay. Let's wait for them to call in. The next speaker
Hi,
is
Keval. Uday Bhai and Parvani Bhabi are online, so I don't know if they're mute. They're on mute.
okay. While we figure that out, let's proceed to the next speaker and we can bring them back. Sudhir Bhai, okay, there you go. Uday Bhai, you're on. I
Okay,
see you on.
sorry. Yeah, now I'm able to
Okay, great.
talk. Hi, so my name is Uday Gadhia. Lalit Bhai left India when I was 2 years old, so I had no memory of meeting him when I was young. I knew of him as a trendsetter, being first of the Gadhia family member to come to USA. That motivated other family members, including me, to venture to other countries. As you may know, I left India for further studies in Germany. In 1991, when I was visiting USA, my father suggested to meet Lalit Bhai for opportunities here. I did not know then that Lalit Bhai would be the only family member in this country that will fill the emptiness that I felt missing the family in India. Ever since our first meeting, not only he became a guide and a mentor, but a very close uncle. Every time we met, there was a special bond that was binding us as if we knew each other forever. We enjoyed reminiscing our family members in India, family events, and occasions. My family and I are so grateful for the opportunities that were made possible by him for our new beginnings. The day we became American citizens, Lalit was very excited and proud. He told us that we are going out to celebrate that same evening. We were so lucky to witness his love for the family. He has touched so many lives in a positive way. We all will miss him. Jacob. And Naparman will speak now.
Jigopal, everyone. Yesterday we received a note from our dear friend Alta. It had simple words but hard to follow them. It said, life is a balance of holding on and letting go. Lalit uncle left behind a lot for us to hold on for our memories. He filled our hearts with his affection. His respect for us helped our confidence grow. And above all, he gave us a hope to live in this country that we call our home. Each time we met him, he shared stories that made us happy. Each time we met him, he made us feel good. And we looked always forward to seeing him again. Thank you, Uncle Lalit, for enriching our lives with your kindness. We will miss you always, Jacob.
Thank you, Uday Bhai, Pavani Bhavi. The next speakers on the list, Sudhir Bhai and Aruna Ben.
I will have a small prayer for him. Purnamida Purnamidam Purnat Purnadachate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti. Ever since I have known Lalit Bhai, he was always Lalit Bhai and never Lalit. That is the reverence of an older brother he always had, and I was fortunate to know him deeply because of personal and professional relationships during which he was the true counselor. From the early days, he was concerned with progress of the Indian community, and through the participation in political process and giving back to the local community that has provided us Indians opportunity to succeed in America. He was a true Gandhian, true secularist, and a true humanitarian human being. He is passing of an important phase of the early story of immigration of Indian community in America. All I can say is farewell, my friend. I hope to see you on the other side. Aruna will not be able to say, Keval.
Okay,
She is too emotional for that.
okay,
So
all right.
we'll talk.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sudhir Bhai. The next speaker on the lineup is Milind and Aarti.
Yeah, hi everyone. This is Milind Sutaria. I'm Lalit Mama was my uncle. I have so many fond memories of him. I came to the DC area, Baltimore DC area, about 25 years ago, and he invited me to stay with him for a couple of months, and I mean that was I had so many wonderful memories staying in his North Charles Street apartment. Yeah, I mean, all over the past 25 years, I mean, there's so many highs, so many lows, but his resilience and his generosity, they never waned. And I mean, he's a great man, and he'll be sorely missed. I'll let Aarti speak.
So I had a pleasure of knowing Lalit Mama through my husband. I came here 23 years back, and when I came to this country, Lalit Mama and Kathy's home was my second home. They welcomed me in their house with open arms. He was very loving, very warm, very passionate, and he was always welcoming. And I felt at home with him. I always looked at him as a father figure. He was always like a father to me. For my kids, like he was always the grandpa, Lalit Dada. Like he has opened all his heart and arms for us, and he's always been there for us. He will be dearly missed. I will miss I'll miss all my time that I've spent with him, and I will cherish everything that I have for so many years, and I love him dearly. Rest in peace, Mama, and I will love you always. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both. The next speakers are Chintan and Swati.
Hi, I'm Chintan, and I'm Lalit Mama's nephew. And I would like to say that I'll always remember Lalit Mama as a Santa in my life. Growing up a diabetic in India, sugar-free treats were very rare. And every time he came and he visited us, he always remembered to bring me something. And it didn't matter what, how busy he was, or, he didn't have time. He'd always carry some sweets for me. He was simple, and his, selfless gestures stayed with me all these years. And he was ever smiling and set great examples for living his life unapologetically and on his own terms. So cheers, Lalit Mama. You will be missed. And I'll give to Swati.
Good morning. I'm Swati. I'm Chintan's wife. I met Lalit Mama when I got married. And I always remember him for his kindness in welcoming me to this country. I especially cherish memories of his visit to our little home in Denver, which was pretty bare at the time, but he just made himself feel right at home, and we had some great days there. Over the years, whenever we met, we've had some great conversations on a variety of topics. He's shared his experiences from his stays at the Gandhi Ashram. We've talked about his love for art, literature, photography. He had a very full life, and he loved life, as some of you have shared earlier. One of his favorite authors said it really well, and I want to echo those feelings. As Maya Angelou has said, people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Lalit Mama had a gift of making us feel special, valued, heard, appreciated in every way. He had a way to connect with the older generation and with the grandkids, and he did it with such ease. We'll miss you, Lalit Mama. Rest in peace.
Thank you, Chintan and Swati. We had Vinod Verma on the lineup. I do not see him in the list, but I see Sudhir by shaking his head, so I don't think he is online. Okay, I guess that means I'm on. So thank you all for coming, and it's just been so great to hear everything everyone said about Lalit Mama. If I were to tell you that I went to a Bob Dylan concert, I went to a bar before dinner for a whiskey shot and a black and tan. I hung out late in the night, eating Indian snacks with a variety of beverages, talking music, politics, sports, art, and everything else you can think under the sun. You would have thought that it is me talking about my time hanging out with a buddy in college. But you would be right, because these are the memories of a buddy I hung out with in college. And that was Uncle Lalit. I kid you not when I say, we walked down Charles Street into the Charles Village pub, and it was like a set of cheers. Everyone knew his name. It was a similar experience if you went to Punjab with him to get Indian groceries, or if you went to Trinakia to stock up on olives and wine. Everyone knew me as Lalit's nephew, Keval. And when I went to those places without him and with my friends, I had to explain to them that it's not me that's that charming. It's not that I knew all of them. It's because I hung out with someone who knew all of them, and everyone knew him. Uncle Lalit was our family's cheerleader. He was always ready with a hug. He always had the best stories. He always had an engaging conversation and words that made everyone feel so special. He brought together the entire family all over the US and from abroad. In some sense, when I landed in Baltimore in 2000, I had landed at the family, our clan's headquarters. I wasn't aware of that. Always present, in those parties, in those gatherings, with a lot of love to share, was Kathy. We cannot say enough about the rock that he had in his wife, in Kathy, especially towards the later years of his life. She kind of took care of everything, made everything easy. And we love you for that, Kathy. He, you've already heard, he also had so much family here. He had Anita and Ron. I know he always used to look forward to Anita's calls, and his eyes always used to light up when we would talk about the weekend. And it was when Anita was coming up to hang out with her, and alongside Ron, and go for lunch and catch up. He loved to talk about his grandkids, all of them. Nothing made him happier than talking about his grandkids. He also loved to speak about his relatives in the US and in India, all 500 of us. He made sure to ask about everyone's parents. He always had a kind word to say. And in conclusion, enough has been said about his generosity, his vibrant spirit. And I'm sure that everyone on the call today has a Lalitism, I call it a Lalitism, that you must have heard from him. And I knew there would be quotes or readings. And so I'm going to end by saying 4 simple words. 4 words that exemplified Uncle Lalit's spirit. And those words may mean different things to you, depending on your most fond memory of him. And they are, stay thirsty, my friend. And that is, if you know, you know. These words, the reason I chose those words were they inspire action and determination. They remind us to maintain a thirst for growth and success. They remind us to embrace life and to always be curious and always be learning. And of course, it's a quote from the Dosaki's Beer Man, so reminds us to raise our glasses and say cheers to a great, great man. Thank you. With that, we are at the end of our speaker lineup, but I see a lot of people here. If you had not received a message from us, I apologize, we apologize, but if there's anyone who wants to come online and say a few words, we would be happy to open the mic.
Yes. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello, my name is Fabrice Michel Reed. I'm French. I live in Florida. I have great memories of Mr. Lalit Gadhia. I met him through his lovely daughter, Anita, with whom I became friends in the late 80s when I was living in Baltimore and working in Baltimore. Anita and I became very good friends and we're very close. And I had the chance to meet Lalit on many occasions with his daughter. He was a wonderful man, very spiritual, always grateful and loving. And I will miss him dearly. And my condolences, as we say in French, to Anita, my darling. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you for letting me speak. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Fabrice. We also have Swati Thakkar. Swati,
Swati Adia, yeah.
Adia.
Lalit Kaka was my Mota Papa, is what we say, my father's elder brother. Although I was not much in touch lately with him, but yet I have a very fond memory about him when I was quite young, quite small. And I remember his visits to India. I know he was a fan of my mother's food. Every time he came to India, he had a list of food items to relish from my mother's hand. And I still remember him when he used to come here. He used to give us a lot of talk on a lot of principles and the discipline that we should follow in life. So we'll always miss him. He's always in our memories, and condolences to all in our family.
Om Shanti.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I see Valentine raising their hand. Yes, you can unmute yourself, please.
Valentine Franco-Smith and my husband, Jim. I've known Lalit for many, many years through Kathy, his dear, dear, beloved wife. But I think what touched me so dearly, and we've all said what a generous soul he had, but the living action of the generosity when we both were going through a very dark period in our lives. And his generous soul and action he gave me his apartment while I was sorting through a very difficult time as he was going through his. And I will never forget this of him. I am of Greek heritage. And what we say when we lose a loved one, we say, Eo niai mnimi, which means memory, memory eternal. And we say, Zoe semas, which means life to us. And I think the biggest gift we can give to Lalit is to live generously, to love generously as he did, and just to be fully embracing life. And for this, I forever thank you. Ευχαριστώ, Lalit. Me agapi. Thank you. Very short. My husband, short.
I'm Jim Smith. I'm Val's husband. I got to know Lalit through my wife, who introduced us shortly after we met each other, and I felt as if we were old friends from the first meeting. We shared our interest in philosophy, even theology. I'm a former Lutheran pastor, retired, and also a mental health counselor. So we shared a lot of views on different things in that department. We left a lot together because we found that we had a lot of things that we saw in the world and in life much the same way. We could not get together that we didn't enjoy each other's company. His wife came to visit us out in Montana where we live, and that was quite a show, quite an interesting trip. And I would remind Kathy of it in Lalit's presence, and we would sit and laugh and enjoy it. I kept trying to get him to come to Montana, to the big sky, but never succeeded in that. When he found out I was diabetic, he began to scold me in a nice way. He shared with me a family recipe for dealing with diabetes, which I still use to this day. And he would remind me every time he saw me, "Are you taking your pill?" Yes, yeah, I am. I will miss him because we shared a lot. And the one word that I think comes to my mind about Lalit is one that I use for most all of my friends when we come to this point in our lives together. Is a Yiddish phrase. He was a mensch. And I'll remember him.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both. I see Bob Rudy's hand up. Bob, did you want to speak?
Thank you. Yeah, Lalit and I met in, I think 1978. I came to Legal Aid Bureau. He was working there with Rick Pecora and Charlie Dorsey and other friends. We became friends very quickly. I met Anita shortly thereafter. Oh, and Lalit and I have been close friends since that time until now. We shared law offices in Baltimore over the past few years. I went to India with Lalit and stayed with his sister and brother-in-law, I think 2014. I love him dearly. I miss him much. I love him. We have been dear friends for 45 years. He's one of my closest friends. He's a wonderful man. I thank you for asking me to be with you this morning and to share our love and appreciation for all he's meant in our lives. He's been a dear friend. Kumar, you and I met through him. I've met many of you through him. He's touched all of us. We know that. He's been with us. He's been a leading light in our lives for many, many years. So, Kathy, I know you'll miss him dearly. I love you. Any way we can be helpful to you, we will. Thank you so much for being with us this morning together. This is a wonderful family. I really loved so many of his brothers and sisters I met in India when I was there. It was a lovely time. We will always be together. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. If there's anyone else, please text me now or just unmute yourself and speak. ઇન્ડિયામાં કોઈ હોય તમારે ઇંગ્લિશમાં વાત ન કરવી હોય ને ગુજરાતીમાં વાત કરવી હોય તો તમે ગુજરાતીમાં વાત કરજો. મહેન્દ્રભાઈ, please proceed, Mehndra.
Good night. Okay. So I am almost 10,000 miles away from him. And so I had promised him to see him when I am back in US. I saw him two and a half years ago when I was in US. I met Lalit in 1973 at the Jahin grocery stores on New York Road. That was my first encounter. He got me involved in the society, social work, being part of this society. And my teaching at Morgan State was basically supported hugely by him, and I will really miss him greatly. I was hoping that I will see him again one more time. It wasn't to be so. And so my wife is not here right now, but both of us will miss his hearty laugh. And that was his biggest plus in life. So again, rest in peace, Lalit. Even though as far as I'm, I will always be in your, and you will be always in our hearts. Thank you.
Thank you, Mahendrabhai. Anyone in India, કોઈને ગુજરાતીમાં કે હિન્દીમાં કે કોઈને વાત કરવી છે? મામી, કૃષ્ણ મામી?
Yeah. Jay Gopal,
જય ગોપાલ.
Darshna Gadia, Ville Parlati. We miss him a lot. એ મારા ફાધર જેવા હતા. જ્યારે બી અહીંયા આવે ત્યારે એના બાના ઘરે આવે જમવા, એટલે કે વિલે પાર્લા, અને એને બીજા કોઈના ઘરનું ભાવે નહીં. એ હંમેશા અહીંયા જ આવે બાના ઘરે. And we really miss him a lot. And we pray for him, for his soul. Thank you.
Hello.
Yes.
Keval.
Yes.
Uday here.
We can hear you.
Hello.
We can hear
Hello.
you. સંભળાય છે.
ગુજરાતીમાં બોલું ચાલશે ને?
હા, જરૂર.
હાજી. મારું નામ ઉદય ઠક્કર છે. મારા લલિત મામા મારા મામા થાય છે. અને એમની યાદો તો હવે જાણે ભૂલાય નહીં એમ જ છે. અને પહેલેથી યાદ કરું તો હું તો જ્યારે ઘણો જ નાનો હતો અને બિફોર ધેટ ટાઈમ એક બનાવ બન્યો હતો એ હું જણાવવા માંગુ છું, જે કેવલભાઈ કદાચ પછી ઇંગ્લિશમાં ટ્રાન્સફર કરીને કહે તો સારી વાત છે. એમના ચાઇલ્ડહુડનો એક પ્રસંગ છે જે મારા મધરે. હલો.
હા, બોલો, સંભળાય છે.
હા, એમના ચાઇલ્ડહુડનો એક પ્રસંગ છે જે મારા મધર ઇન્દુબેન હતા અને ત્યારે લલિત મામાની ઉંમર 12 વર્ષની હતી અને ફણસવાડીમાં મોતી બિલ્ડિંગમાં એ લોકો રહેતા હતા. એક દિવસનો એવો બનાવ છે, આ મારા મધરે કહેલું છે, મેં પોતે ક્યાંય જોયેલું નથી. એક દિવસ ઘરમાં કંઈક થોડું ઘણું આમે બધાના હોય છે, જેમ દરેકના ઘરમાં, તો થોડો ઘણો બનાવ બન્યો હશે. મારા નાના એટલે કે મમ્મીને બાપાજી કહીએ છીએ, તો એમની સાથે કંઈક વાતમાં એમને ઓલું થયું તો એ સવારના ઘર છોડીને નીકળી ગયા બહાર. આ એમ કેટલા કરેજિયસ હતા અને પેલા કેટલા પોતાની અંદર ઓલા હતા એનો એક દાખલો છે. આમાં હું કોઈ બીજા ઓલાથી નથી કહેતો. એ ત્યાંથી સીધા વિક્ટોરિયા ટર્મિનસ ગયા અને ખીચામાં એક પણ પૈસો નહીં, પહેરેલે કપડે, અને પૂના નીકળી ગયા, પૂના પહોંચી ગયા. આ બાજુ બધા રાહ જુએ કે લલિતભાઈ ક્યાં ગયા. આખો દિવસ એમના મધર સંતોકબા, મારા સિસ્ટર, બધા રડતા અને કહેતા કે ક્યાં ગયો, હજી સુધી નથી આવ્યો. ત્યારે કોઈ ટેલિફોન કે કોઈ મોબાઈલ કે કોઈ એવી તો વસ્તુ નહીં કે કોન્ટેક્ટમાં રહી શકાય. અને એઝ યુઝ્યુઅલ મારા નાના તો ઓફિસે નીકળી ગયા હતા. પછી રાત પડી અને રાતના બધા જ રાહ જોતા હતા કે આ લલિત ક્યાં ગયો, આવ્યો નહીં. ઘરની બહાર દરવાજા ઉપર બધા બેઠા હતા. ત્યાં બાપાજી આવ્યા ઓફિસમાંથી. એમણે કીધું લલિત આવ્યો છે, ક્યાં ગયો? તો કે ના, હજી આવ્યો નથી, ક્યાં ગયો છે ખબર નથી. એટલે દરેકને ચિંતા થવા માંડી. બીજે દિવસે સવારે 6, 6:30 વાગે બધા સૂતા હતા. પછી ત્યારે ધીરેથી બારણું ખખડાવ્યું તો મારા મધરે ખોલ્યું તો લલિતભાઈ હતા. અને આવીને એમને કીધું કે હું અહીંયા તમારી બાજુમાં સૂઈ જાઉં છું, અને બાપાજીને કાંઈ હમણાં કહેતા નહીં કરીને એ સૂઈ ગયા. અને પછી જ્યારે સવાર પડીને બધા ઉઠ્યા ત્યારે પછી વાત ખબર પડી કે લલિતભાઈ આવી ગયા છે. એટલે પછી બાપાજીએ બી મોટું દિલ કરીને એ તો સમજતા હતા. પણ આ પ્રસંગ પરથી એક ખ્યાલ આવે છે કે આટલી એજમાં પોતે એકલા જવું અને પુનાથી પાછા આવવું એ મારા માટે તો આઉટ ઓફ ઇમેજિનેશનની જ વાત છે. એટલે આ એક તો તમે એને ઓલા તરીકે લઈ શકો છો કે કેટલા કરેજિયસ હતા નાનપણથી. બીજું, એમણે ક્વિટ ઇન્ડિયા મુવમેન્ટમાં બી ગાંધીજીના ફોલોઅર્સ તરીકેની ઘણી પ્રવૃત્તિઓ કરી છે એવું મારા મધર કહેતા હતા. અને ખાદીના કપડાં પહેરતા, ટોપી પહેરતા અને ગાંધીજીના ફોલોઅર્સ હતા એવું પણ મારી જાણમાં મને મારા મધરે કહેલું હતું. એટલે એમ સમજો કે નાનપણથી જ એમના બ્લડમાં એક જાતનું કરેજિયસ અને ઓલું જે કહેવાય એ એમના બ્લડમાં જ હતું. અને એ એણે જાળવી રાખ્યું. ને પછી જ્યારે યુએસ ગયા, અને એ પછી સૌ જાણે જ છે કે એમણે કેટલી લાંબી સફર ખેડી અને આટલે મુકામ પર પહોંચ્યા છે, આટલા ઓલા ઉપર. એક ખરેખર ગર્વ અનુભવવા જેવી વાત છે દરેકે. આપણે બધા જ એમને મિસ કરીએ છીએ. એ ભલે ફિઝિકલી આપણી સાથે નથી, પણ સ્પિરિચ્યુઅલી આપણી આજુબાજુમાં જ ક્યાંક છે. અને એની ટાઈમ આપણે એમ લાગે છે કે નહીં, એ આપણને દરેક ઓલામાં ગાઈડ કરતા જ રહે છે. બસ ભગવાન એમના આત્માને પરમ શાંતિ આપે, અને જ્યાં જ્યાં હોય ત્યાં એ શાંતિ એમને ભગવાન અર્પે. જય ગોપાલ.
Jai Gopal, Udai, thank you so much. How about, so Udai just kind of recited a memory he had of Mama, of what he had heard, and I'll try and summarize it for the non-Gujarati speakers here with us today, and I'll try my best. So, when Lalit was about 12 years or so, they must have had some kind of a misunderstanding at home, and he kind of just got up and left with his dad. The misunderstanding was, I think, with his dad. And he just kind of got up and left. In the clothes he had on his back, he took off to the train station as he was, and he left for Pune. And no one knew where he was. People were just kind of waiting until late in the evening to kind of hear back. It was a time when there were no cell phones, and so no one knew where he was. And when Dad arrived back home in the evening, he asked, "Has Lalit gotten back yet?" And no, he had not. And so people just said, "Okay, let's wait to hear from him, see what happens." And next day, early in the morning, at about 6 or 7 a.m. in the morning, someone opened the door and was Lalit. And he quietly got in the home and got in the bed with his mom and told his mom, "I'm here. Just don't say anything to Dad. All's well." And that was it. And so it was just a testimony to what we all know about him. He was a rebel. He was a trailblazer. He would live on his own terms, and that's what he did. And what Udaiba was trying to tell us is that he's with us in spirit, and we feel him around us. He was also a Gandhi follower from a very young age. He used to wear khadi clothes. That was one of the things Gandhiji had propagated, instilled in India. And we will all miss him dearly. So for the Gujarati speakers, I hope I did a good job. Okay. Anyone else on here who would like to say anything? Again, Hindi, Gujarati, Marathi, doesn't matter.
Hi.
Hello, Karen.
Oh, hi. Oh, I had so many things I wanted to say, and I just can't now. I first met Lalit in 1969. So I knew him for 55 years, and we were very good friends. He was such a character, and I'll never forget when I walked in the office, and I saw him, let me get this, with a great suit and a great tie, and he was so debonair, and he was just so much fun. We had a long relationship, ups and downs, and wives and husbands and things, but he was such a wonderful friend. I'm going to miss him so much. I had the opportunity to have lunch with him on Tuesday before he died, and I'm so thrilled that I made that effort to do that, because it just gives me another memory of what a wonderful person he was. And he influenced so many people in his life. So anyway, Lalit, I'm going to miss you. And you look down on all of us, okay? And smile, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Thank you, Karen.
Can I be heard?
Yes, Larry, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Is it, can I speak now?
Yes, please.
Okay, this is Larry Gibson. Lalit and I met in 1968. It was in connection with, I think it will not surprise you, a couple of political campaigns. It was the first time that Parent Mitchell ran for office for Congress. And the other significant election at that time was a judgeship election for Judge Joseph Howard. We didn't win Parent's election that time, but we did win Judge Joseph Howard's election. And it was significant because it was the first time that an African American was elected citywide in this election. And I met Lalit very early in the campaign. And we have done a lot of damage since then. I mean, through every political campaign that I've been involved in of any consequence, he's been a very, very important a part of all five of, I guess it's five of Kurt Smoke's elections, his two for state's attorney, and his three mayoral elections. And of course, we all know that he had this, what am I going to call the Goon Squad? Let's just say this group of guys, these friends who were very much connected with everything that he did. Over the last 6 months or so, we've spent a lot of time together because most people know I'm a pack rat, and I've kept, seems like every piece of paper that I've collected, certainly since 1968. And Lalit has been assembling data at the University of Maryland Law School in connection with the Goons Squad. But that was our political involvement. I like to travel, and of course, Lalit made sure that I went to India. Sudhir and Lalit set me up pretty good shape there, and I met him in Delhi, and that was a delightful trip. And Sudhir's friend up in Amritsar really showed Diane and I around. Then, in the process along the way, Lalit decided to become a lawyer. I mean, this is my 51st year at the University of Maryland School of Law, and I sort of kind of enjoyed that period of time in terms of Lalit being formerly a student. But we've done multiple things together, most of them connected with politics, but not all elected office. He was very much involved in the school system, particularly during the period of the superintendency of Roland Patterson and the whole controversy regarding his losing that position due to a change in the administration. So this was my buddy, my friend of more than 50 years. He would also have very strong views about specific people. One is Kumar Bhave. I was glad to ultimately meet this man because Lalit just carried on about Kumar. And Larry, this is someone you need to meet. And I was not disappointed when I did. And that there were others. I mean, he would identify persons that he thought were exceptional, that had particular ability and a talent, and he would just become their promoters. I will miss my friend dearly. Fortunately, I've been all of my life a photographer, so I have many Lalit photographs, and so at some point you want to put together something with pictures in it. I've got a lot of material. So thank you for allowing me this few moments to ramble after it took me forever to get this technology down. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Yes, we've not met, but I've heard of you often and a lot. I know this technology can be not great for some people who would rather speak in person, but we still have a few minutes if anyone else wanted to jump on and say a few words.
કેવલ સુધીર મામા છું અહીંયા.
હા, સુધીર મામા સંભળાય છે, બોલો.
હા, બસ મને બધી બહુ યાદ આવે છે. હું આવેલો બાલ્ટીમોર લગભગ 4 વર્ષ પહેલા. ત્યારે એની સાથે મેં 2 દિવસ એના ઘરે વિતાવ્યા હતા. એની યાદ મને બહુ જ આવે છે. ને અહીંયા જ્યારે 4 વર્ષ 5 વર્ષ પહેલા અહીંયા આવેલા ત્યારે 15 દિવસ એ મારા ઘરે રહ્યા હતા. એ બધી યાદો એટલી બધી આવે છે કે એની કઈ હદ નથી. બસ ભગવાન એના આત્માને શાંતિ આપે. ને એના એવરી વીક એ ફોન કરે જ અમને. અમે બધા ભાઈ બહેનોને ફોન કરે એવરી વીક. રાતના ફોન આવે જ એનો.
હેલો.
અને બધાને ખબર પૂછે પાછા.
એક મિનિટ પ્રવીણભાઈ, હું એમનું જે કીધું છે એક થોડુંક 2 મિનિટમાં હું ટ્રાન્સલેટ કરી દઉં, પછી તમે પછી વર્ડ્સ કહેજો. We just heard from Sudhir Gadhia, Lalit's youngest brother, and he was just talking about his memories of when he was in Baltimore few years ago, and when he got the opportunity to hang out with Lalit, and about the time that he spent with Lalit in India. When he went to India about 4 or so years ago, he stayed with Sudhir and his family, and they just had a great time. And he was also talking about the fact that Lalit would call his siblings every Sunday, every weekend, without fail. And more often than not, they're a close-knit clan. They all hang out together. So when they would be together, he would make sure to call them, and they would all speak with him. And he made sure to call every sibling and stayed in touch. And they miss him dearly. Thank you, Sudhir Bhai. Thank you, Sudhir Mama.
Hello.
Praveen Bhai, bolo.
Perhaps I'm the oldest person to know Lalit, because I knew him since we were in our early teens. We went to the same school, we went to the same college, studied together, and we were even family friends also. And when he left for America, I was the only one friend who went there to see him off. So our friendship has been since late 40s, 1940s or early 1950s. So perhaps it is more than 72 years, 73 years friendship, which is now that he's no more. So I have got very fond memories of our early days, so to say, of the school and on the college also, because we went to the same school, same class and all that. And again, after that, I'm at the moment, I'm in London since last 52 years. And we have been in touch with each other. And even only last month, I talked to him. And when he was here, he stayed with me. When I was in America, I stayed with him and all that kind of thing. So it's a great loss as such that I really miss you. We were 3 friends, myself, Lalit, and Shishir Durakia, who was in Delhi. And now I'm the only one who is left here. And I miss Lalit very much. Miss him. Thank you. Just Rambhai, yes. Thank you for your telephone.
Keval,
Yes, Mama. Thank you, Praveen bhai.
yeah. We have heard when he came to India, we have heard many familiar names of American friends who are present here, especially Mr. Kumar Barve. He used to talk a lot about Kumar Barve and other American friends. So I thank you all to join this session, and I request you all, please pray for him and bless him for the peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Mama. I think we also have Deepak Bhai who wants to say a few words.
Yeah, hi Keval, thank you, beta. Jai Shri Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna and Jai Gopal to all Gadhia family and all the friends of Lalit Kaka and Kathy and Anita. I see you also. We are very far away, but our prayers are with you, and we pray for his soul. As you all know, he was one of our favorite uncle. Actually, not many may know that he was the first Gadhia family member to be a rebel and who left the shore of India, and that has opened up the opportunity for all of many of us like me and Uday, and all of us followed and went to USA. So he's showed that it's possible if you have dreams, and we pursue the dreams. And all his life, he remained our dear friend and dear uncle, a great support of whatever we did. And his body is not with us, but his memories and the inspiration he's given us will continue to inspire us. So we pray for his soul, and I am here with my elder brother's wife, Saroj Bhabi and Kushal, and we all from India also send our condolences to the whole family. It's a big loss, not just for you, but for all of us. Thank you, Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Gopal.
Thank you, Deepak Bhai. So I think this is all we had for the evening. We've seen and we've heard from everyone.
Yes. This is Rick Pecora and Binky. We wanted to say a few words.
Oh, sure. Please proceed. We can hear you.
Well, I'm Rick Pecora, and I've been practicing law with Lalit for 40 years almost, as long as I've been around. I met him in Baltimore when I bought a house in Dickeyville, and he had a friend who was living there. Since then, I've practiced law with him at Legal Aid, where I was a chief attorney, and he worked with me for 11 years. I moved on from Legal Aid with his advice partly to work for the Corps of Engineers as a lawyer. I'm an ex-Army guy anyway, and I served the Army with my work. But my real work, and I did with Lalit for really making amendment, is our legal work in the environment. I've found my way with Lalit's help to become the Secretary of Environment in Maryland, and we together did a lot of good things for people who probably didn't think they were good at the time. Making a war on global warming, beginning other environmental groups. We did a good job and still did until I lost my friend Lalit. And I don't really figure I lost him because I'm going to join him soon, like the rest of us. But I loved his works, and I'm glad to have known him, and I'm glad to have known his friends and family. And his family really is very close to him. So thank you, Lalit. Thank you, Lalit's family, and good luck to all of you.
And Kathy, thank you too for taking such great care of him. We really appreciate you, and we love you. Rest in peace, Lalit.
Thank you both. Thank you both for those kind words.
Hello?
Yes?
Yes,
Don?
this is Don Hecht. I'd like to say something.
Sure thing, Don.
Sure, thank you. First, my condolences to Kathy, who I've seen a lot recently, and also to Anita, who I probably haven't seen close to 35 years. I first met Lalit back in the mid 80s when a common friend, Damon Trazi, introduced me to him. And I was trying to figure out what to do with my career as a lawyer when I was not offered a position at the public defender's office. And Lalit was kind enough to let me come into his office on Calvert Street above the Bridge restaurant. People remember that. It's no longer there. And while I had done criminal law, Lalit certainly taught me a lot about the practice of law and civil law. And I remember going to court with him once in Annapolis on a case, and we went out to lunch during the break, and I was just amazed, and I was very young back then, at how many people he knew and how many people actually knew him as we walked around Church Circle and State Circle before we went back to court. I stayed with Lalit for a few years, and I then joined with another law firm for 20 years, but continued to stay in touch with him over that time. And over the last couple of years, as his health declined, he asked me to come help him out with several cases. And I was very honored that he asked me to do that. As I've told people when I heard of his passing, there are not many more people that I know who had a more fulfilling, wide, full life than Lalit. A very humble man. You wouldn't know of all his accomplishments unless you read about him. He was not one to toot his own horn. And Kathy, again, I hope to do him proud as I work on his cases with Kiran, his assistant for many years. And I know I will miss him. We had a wonderful dinner over at their place. My wife and I, Dee Dee and Damon and his wife this summer. And he was dressed to the nines, and I think he really enjoyed himself. I know it was good to see him in that atmosphere at his home with Kathy. And again, just my condolences both to Kathy and Anita, and to an incredible number of people and friends and family that he had over his full and complete life. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Okay, I did not see anyone else raising their hand. So with that, Anita, do you think we can conclude? Would you like to say anything in conclusion as we end this call?
Yes, I'd just like to conclude with a prayer for my father. Lord, thank you for the gift of Lalit Gadhia, this beautiful soul whom we all love and who touched so many lives, more than we will ever know. We thank you for the grace that he imparted on each of us. We thank you for the blessing of his memory. We ask you to let him be at peace in eternity. We ask you to bless his soul, to comfort all of us who mourn. And we ask for grace evermore. God bless my father, Lalit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you all. Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Gopal, Shalom. There's an international crowd.
Thank you
for making the time. Good day.
Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Gopal.
Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Gopal.
Shalom.
Jai Shri
Thank
Krishna,
you.
Jai Gopal. Thank you.
Jai Shri Krishna, Jai
Amen.
Swaminarayan.
Om Shanti.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Jai Gopal.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, everybody. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Come on, Anna.
Thank you, Anita.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chanel.
All of you. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Aunt Kathy.
Wonderful. Yes, hi, and everyone. I love you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you, Anita. You have a family
Thank you.
here in India, Anita and Kathy. Don't forget, you have a family here.
That's
You
right.
approach us for anything, we are there for you.
What about her nephew?
Thank you.
Thank you,
Jai
little
Gopal.
buddy. I love you.
Thank
Jai Shri Krishna.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see here.